This is Armed American Radio's Daily Defense.
Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, because they don't want me to, that's why I do it.
Presented by X Insurance. X Insurance. From the SIG Sauer Studios. On the Patriot Mobile Platinum Microphone. Here is your host, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting the enemies of freedom, Mark Walters.
And here we go. Greg in Dallas, Texas. Welcome aboard, brother. Today's your favorite day.
Absolutely it is.
You waited all week for that, did you not? Great
Absolutely.
stuff.
Took all week to get here.
It always does take all week to get here, but that's a good thing. That's a good thing. You don't want to wish your life away. Guys, welcome inside the SIG SAUER Studios. Mark Walters filling your prescription for freedom today and every day. And we're here on the Patriot Mobile Command and Communication Center microphone. Greg, we're live on YouTube, live on Facebook, live on Rumble, live on X, and all that fun stuff. And I guess we'll get started. I still have a feed from the music. I don't know if that can be cut. There we go. That's fading out.
Well, that's the show open that plays every day.
Yeah, I didn't realize it played that long.
Yeah, it's about a minute and a half.
Is it? And it just kind of fades out?
I let it play all the way to the end and just pull it down a little bit.
So, today's kind of a Google gun control type thing today. Google 2A stories today to find out what we got, and we've got a good friend to do it with, Paul Markle, student of the gun. Welcome in, brother. How you doing?
Oh, just dandy.
Jim Dandy. Talk to me, man. What's going on in your neck of the woods? You got a lot of snow up there. I saw those photographs. It was pretty nice looking. But
oh, yeah.
You can keep it.
Yeah, we got one, and then we get a break, and then we're supposed to get another one.
Another one?
So,
well, it'll snow there through up into April, won't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we get snow all the way through April. It's been pretty mild this winter so far, so you can't really complain about it. But since I moved out here, I've come to realize that the serious snow doesn't usually hit till February.
And ladies and gentlemen, just so in case you want to know, that's the great state of Wyoming, and it is the photos you send are beautiful. It is absolutely gorgeous. It looks phenomenal. I bet it smells fresh and clean. And as you said in a text yesterday, it keeps the mosquitoes away. That's for sure. But I can't do that much snow, and I just can't. I can't do that much snow. I can't do it. I'm good for one to see. And it
keeps the hippies away too.
Yeah, I guess so. But you got enough land to keep the hippies away anyway. So
the weak hippies.
The weak hippies. Oh, Paul, tell me what you're thinking so far. 4 weeks, almost 4 weeks into Trump's first administration. And this phrase comes to mind, and that is, when the people fear the government, there is tyranny. When the government fears the people, there is liberty. And we're going that direction. And I'm watching the Democrats scared to death, not just the Dems, but also the rhino swamp creatures like McConnell and the rest of them. This guy's a real beauty.
Oh, yeah.
But, talk to us.
Didn't that scumbag Lindsey Graham just make some baloney sausage statement about Zelensky and Ukraine and how he's an ally of ours? First of all, no, he's not. He's just a freaking pawn in the money laundering scheme. And let's face facts. Zelensky's getting all that money because he's got all the good blackmail stuff on the Obamas and the Clintons and the Kerrys and the McCabe family and you name it.
And the Bidens. Let's not forget the Bidens, and Hunter and the rest of them, right?
Yeah, they've been laundering money through Ukraine for decades, ever since the Soviet Union fell. And the reason he continues to get all that money is because he's got all that good, solid blackmail evidence. But I'm sure he's probably got it stashed somewhere. So if he has an accidental car correct or something, if he gets Hillaried, that the evidence will come out. But come on, man. Freaking Lindsey Graham. It's time for that turd to go.
I don't know. I haven't heard. Lindsey Graham has been fairly quiet. I haven't paid much attention to him. I haven't heard a lot from him as of late. I enjoy waking up. One of my mottos was turn that crap off, right? For years, I would get up, and what's the first thing you do when you wake up? You'd flip on the Fox News, or because of what I do, I would go to all of them, and every single day. And I got to thinking over the years, why am I waking myself up with this stressful nonsense every single day when I can get it all day? I don't need to watch this stuff. So I just, started turning the stuff off. and it made me feel better. You know, I'm not kidding you, ladies and gentlemen. I would wake up and like flip over to I don't know, maybe a King of Queens or a Gilligan's Island or a Bewitched, or watch a documentary or something on the Civil War and start my day with a smile on my face or learn something instead of waking up stressed out and all this nonsense. But I got to tell you, over the last 4 weeks, I can't wait to wake up in the morning, turn it on, and see who Trump's pissed off next. It's been so much fun. It's insane to watch.
We're living in this parallel universe where people who literally have robbed the American taxpayer are upset that the American taxpayer is finding out.
Yeah. So what does that tell you? Let's dive into that for a minute. What is that? Again, it goes back to that saying. The Democrats now fear the people because they know what's coming. They know what Musk is up to. They know what he's uncovering. So they're attacking him. Ladies and gentlemen, when you're taking flack, you're over the target. And Lord knows he's taken a lot of flack. Same thing with Donald Trump. Their whole Hitler deal failed. His poll numbers are shining. For the first time in over 20 years, ladies and gentlemen, a majority of Americans are now saying that the country is on the right track. And this man's been in office for 4 weeks. This is a bold statement to make, but I believe this to be true. The Democrat Party, as you've known it, likely may never, ever recover from this. This
the only way they possibly can is through their just evil conniving. You know, there's no way they could have gotten away with the 2020 election fraud if it wouldn't have been for COVID. If they wouldn't have had half the country terrified.
Let's go conspiracy, because it was likely manufactured. Okay,
it was manufactured.
There's
no likely. It absolutely was. They've got holy hell. It has a patent number.
No. I don't mean that it was obviously the. I'm talking about the plan for the release. Yeah, the virus was absolutely man-made. But none of this is coincidental, ladies and gentlemen. There are no such things. When you look back over your shoulder, and I know you have like me, and you think to yourself, good Lord, what the hell just happened over those 4 years? What in the world just happened? How did we flip so haywire in this country? Well, there's answers to that. We allowed it to happen, quite frankly.
Oh, absolutely.
We were asleep at the wheel. We weren't paying enough attention, and we allowed ourselves to be
We
steamrolled.
used the royal we. I wasn't fooled for 1 second, and I've got documented evidence going all the way back to the beginning. When they said, oh, you have to stay home, and I said, okay, you're shutting down all the airports, right? No, we're not doing that. All right, pump the brakes, Jack. You're telling me that New York City is ground zero for the coronavirus, and you're letting people get on planes in New York City and fly everywhere, anywhere in the country? They're like, yeah. So I thought this was a pandemic. I thought it was we have to stay in our houses. So we have to stay in our houses, but you're going to let people just fly all – well, they're wearing a mask. Okay. I knew when they refused to shut down the airports, I knew. I said, this is bullcrap. Yeah. This is not about a disease. It's not about a virus. It's about control.
Yeah. It was a massive,
absolutely what it was.
A historic effort at control. And when you combine that with everything else that happened with Trump, if you think that's coincidental, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what to tell you. You're wrong. You're
in the wrong place.
Yeah, you're in the wrong place. There's nothing coincidental, and nothing in Washington happens in a vacuum. Everything in Washington is by design, Paul. We all know that to be the case.
Oh, but they're the most conniving human beings on the planet.
Well, you said, the royal, okay? The collective.
The royal we.
Right, the royal we.
The collective
but let's talk about the individual. I had this conversation with a buddy last night over a great Padron cigar, by the way. And he and I are obviously very like mind. And I said, ask yourself this question. Have you ever thought about it in these terms? What is it about you or I that everything was so visible? Why could we see what was unfolding, and why could others not? Where's the disconnect there, right? And it came down to emotion versus the ability to think. When all you do is feel, and someone is telling you the things you want to hear, and that makes you feel good, and you're an ideologue to boot. That's how you get that. A great example. Paul, you and I were talking about Joe Biden being dementia-addled for the entire term of Joe Biden. How come
it was obvious?
Well, we're getting ready to take a break, so I'll throw this question at you. We come back, we'll go to you. I want to get your answer. Why didn't the other side see it until the night of the debate? Why didn't it become obvious to everyone until the night of the debate? So that's the question. What is it? They didn't see him falling up the steps. They didn't see him falling down over sandbags. They didn't see him falling off his bike. They didn't see him shaking hands with nobody and turning around and walking off stages, making an utter fool of himself. They didn't see him in Europe turning around and wandering around. They did. But why didn't they process that information? It's actually a fascinating conversation. We'll be back with Paul. 3 more segments on a fun Friday. Don't go away.
The following segment of Armed American Radio's Daily Defense is being brought to you by Patriot Mobile. Visit patriotmobile.com/AAR and use the AAR promo code to get free activation today. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, welcome back to the show indeed. Mark Walters here in the 6 Sauer studios with you, filling your prescription for freedom. Welcome back in. Patriot Mobile Command Center, Mike fired up for you. It's all being brought to you by the great X Insurance. Please visit all of our partners. You can find them all at armedamericanradio.com. Support them for supporting this program over the last 16 years on the nation's airwaves. We've got the best partners out there for a reason. So support them. Throw them a couple bucks. Buy their products. They're the best of the best. You can find them all at armedamericanradio.com. Paul Marco, student of the gun, welcome back in, my brother.
I have an answer for you.
Well, let's refresh the question for those who might be rejoining us. Why could we see what the left was up to, that Biden was completely lost? It was visible to anybody who had open eyes, but you have to be honest, and there's a lot of dishonest people out there. We'll take them out of the equation for now. But the vast majority of people who never saw it until the debate still shocks me, but it doesn't. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay. I'll give you the short answer first. Number one, to quote the great Michael Savage, liberalism is a mental disorder. Okay. But also, in addition, you need to understand that to be a political liberal, a communist, socialist, whatever you want to call them, to be a Democrat in America today, you have to take all of your beliefs, whether it's a religious belief or whether it's political, you have to park everything to worship the party. Okay, I'll give you a great example. Feminists, right? All about women's empowerment, and women are not objects, and women are equal to men, right? The women supported Bill Clinton, a serial sex abuser. The evidence is there for anyone who wants to look at it. Bill Clinton was a serial abuser, right? And yet the women, the Democrat women who claimed to be feminists, supported him. Catholics, Christian Catholics, who claim to be faithful Christian Catholics, vote for Democrats who are, quite frankly, Satanists. You know, in order to be a Democrat, you have to be willing to endorse human sacrifice in the form of infanticide, up to and including the day of birth. Never forget that ghoul, Mario Cuomo, signing the, I don't know what they called it. Mario Cuomo signed a bill allowing women to murder their infant children up to the day of birth, not conception, the day of birth. Okay, 9 full months, you can kill that kid. 8 months and 3 weeks, you're like, you know what? I changed my mind. Kill it. And they smiled. He signed the bill, and he was surrounded by sycophants who were smiling. And Catholics vote Democrat. I thought you were, or any person who claims to be a Christian, how do you support a party whose platform says, you know what? Human life is disposable. But liberalism is a mental disease. Let's go to the American I'm not sure because I don't have, African American ancestry, like what the correct phrase is. But let's talk about the American black folks. They vote for Democrats. The same people who voted, the Civil Rights Act. 0 Democrats voted for the Civil Rights Act. There would not be a Civil Rights Act without Republicans. Those are the facts.
How far do you want to go back on that one?
Yeah,
you want to go back to the Civil War and slavery? We could go on that all day long.
Like we haven't seen Democrats that upset since Lincoln took their slaves away.
Yeah, I saw that meme up earlier today. And the fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, it was the Democrat Party that was the party of slavery. And they've swept that under the rug, and they did it successfly for a long time.
So
got
how
away with
do
it. Still
you,
do, for the most part.
Your question, you're like, back to the question, how did they supposedly not see? Oh, they saw it, but they wouldn't admit it because of their cultish behavior.
Yeah, there's a
They're
psychological
cult-like
factor
behavior.
here. There's a psychological factor
Yes.
here that's above my pay grade, but I think it goes back to the ideologue aspect of this. When you are hearing and feeling only as an ideologue, but it's for example, it's why you watch MSDNC, and every bit of garbage that's thrown at you, you actually take that as news. There are people out there that actually believe when they watch that, they're watching the news. I remember talking with my mother-in-law one time, and she was watching MSDNC. I said, "Why are you watching that, Mom? What's going on with that?" She goes, "I just wanted to watch the news." You're not watching the news.
That's not news.
Okay.
That's liberal propaganda.
Well,
That's socialist propaganda.
Yeah, too many people feel that is. Now, these institutions have been wrecked by Trump. It's just been so fun to watch, and he's moving at such breakneck speed. The mainstream media likely will never recover whatever level of trust that they had
The Cronkite
pre-2024.
level.
Yeah, it will never come back. It's gone. They will always be viewed with skepticism from this point forward. They always have by half the country.
As they should.
As they should, correct.
As they should.
I mean, that's just a smart thing to do anyway, is to view them with skepticism. Politicians, everybody. It doesn't matter what party they are. You have to do that in order to maintain control. Now you see the Dems going nuts, for example. Just kind of segue over to Elon Musk briefly. Elon Musk is driving the left insane. Why? Why would any American not want to know, politician, Democrat, Republican, citizen, doesn't matter, why would you not want to find out that hundreds of billions of your dollars have been being wasted on whatever it is they're finding out? Why would you not want to know that?
Given to everyone but you. While you, the average American, have to make the decision, do I want to top off the tank on my truck,
Right.
or do I need to spend that money on something else? While you're making those decisions, they're giving billions. They're giving Chelsea Clinton $84 million of your money.
I saw that report earlier today, too. That several
$84 million. And the thing is, they can't even deny it.
It's a
They're just
money
mad that-
laundering scheme, as all this has
Yes.
been for many, 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 many decades. And it's being uncovered. So when you see a Democrat go nuts that this information is being uncovered, if they're on the straight up and not on the take, they're going to be just as angry as you are. But they're
They
not.
should be.
They're angry it's being uncovered. And they're trying to throw you off the ball by telling you that Trump's forming an oligarch, all this nonsense garbage. Paul, we're getting ready, excuse me, to take another break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. And then, sometime in the next segment, we're going to Google up some gun control. There's some stories out there that I want to cover with you, ladies and gentlemen, that you'll find remarkable. Our prediction was that they're going after the states. They are, in fact, going after the states. And USA Today, and I think the AP went a little ballistic because of something that occurred in Maine just a couple days ago, and a federal judge, they don't like that. We'll talk about that and a lot more. We'll cram in as much as we can with Paul Markel, student of the gun. By the way, you can find everything Paul does at sotgu.com, sotgu.com. Thanks for tuning in on whatever radio station you're listening, and thanks for tuning in on whatever platform you're watching us on. We appreciate it. We'll be back right after the break. Yeah, unmute my mic. That might help. Let me bring the camera up for you guys during the break today. Those of you, many of you have commented that, I have a guitar behind me. What is it? And all that stuff. So I'll just let you, because I did something fun today here in the studio that I generally don't do because, well, I'm mindful that there are people that live somewhat close to me and behind me. But this is a Gibson SG behind me. And over the last couple of years, I've been taking lessons. In fact, I will have been a guitar player for 2 years next month, the 1st of next month, coming up in just a couple weeks. It's Valentine's Day today. By the way, happy Valentine's Day. We'll mention that when we come back. Forgot to do that. Sorry about that. But I decided today I was just hot. I was practicing this morning, and I was running through some scales and doing some soloing. And I decided, because I can't get off this Vox amp that I have. This tube amp is just unbelievable. And if anybody plays, it's an AC-10, and it's so loud. I can't even put it at quarter volume on that thing. It's so loud. Now, I have a separate studio on the property that's about 12 by 24 foot, and it's done pretty nice in here. And I decided earlier today that I'm going to crank this thing up, and I threw it to half volume and lit this guitar up. The walls were shaking. The floors were shaking. I had so much fun. I was literally blowing my brains out when all the fuses blew. Everything just blew out in here. And fortunately, I have breakers and everything, so I was able to reset everything. But I did that for about 15 minutes this morning, and for the life of me, I still can't get anybody to complain. I get a cop show up here at the studio asking me to turn down my guitar. That's a victory for me. That's just a flat-out victory. I've never thought I'd hear in my entire life, sorry, Mr. Walters, would you be kind enough to turn your guitars down? We had some complaints. That's a win for me.
30.
And I can't get anybody to do it. So anyway, that's a fun guitar story. And for those of you in the chat that we've talked about the guitars before, I did get the pedal board set up, and I can't get off that MXR. That MXR distortion pedal is the best one I have, and that thing just screams. All right, we're getting ready to come back, guys.
I'm going to call from Texas.
Somebody needs to. I want that win, We'll see. I'll make it happen.
Daniel Defense firearms are guaranteed for life, trusted worldwide, and designed, engineered, and manufactured right here in America. Daniel Defense, freedom, passion, precision.
Yeah, DanielDefense.com, freedom, passion, precision. I may be down there next week. I'll report to you. Welcome back inside. SIG Sauer Studios fired up for you today. Mark Walters on the Patriot Mobile microphone. This is a Patriot Mobile activated phone. You can do the same thing. Visit patriotmobile.com/AAR, and you get 1 month free. It's quite a bargain. You do not have to move all of your lines over at one time. You can move them over piecemeal, one at a time like we've done. I think we've got 2 now that are Patriot Mobiles. You can do the same thing. Support the businesses that support you, that support your gun rights. Just because Trump's in office, don't think they're going away, folks. They're not. And we're going to talk about that in just a few more minutes with Paul Markle. But make sure to, you can support the Second Amendment by drinking Defender coffee. Greg, ask me how many cups of Defender coffee I had today.
Mark, how many cups of Defender coffee did you have today?
None. I woke up and I had a sugar-free Red Bull, and I'm having another one.
All right.
But normally it's 2 or 3 to start my day. I just was not in a coffee mood. Coffee wasn't doing it for me today, so I needed something carbonated. But when you order and drink Defender coffee, you tell Defender Coffee where you want a portion of the profits to go. You can send it to the Second Amendment Foundation, the Gun Owners of America. I do both. And you can do the same thing. Real simple. Visit defendercoffee.com, defendercoffee.com. And one more real quick, because I'm looking at it right here. It's right in front of me. It's out here in the studio every day with me. And that's this Emerson knife. I use it every single day. I used it today to get into 2 boxes, one for a new light and another one for some cigars. Always fun. EmersonKnives.com, promo code AAR. Get 10% off anything by Emerson Knives. Paul Markle, student of the gun. Welcome back, brother.
Yes, sir.
I think I'm getting a little cold. I feel bad. My wife had a cold first time, and I haven't had a cold.
Hit the Zycam.
Oh, I haven't had a cold since 2020. So yeah. I'm a Super Dodger, dude. The unvaxxed Super Dodger stuff, right? All right.
Well, is this the 4th winter of death and well, what are they telling us that if you don't get vaccinated, it's going to be the winter of like death and illness?
Okay. All right.
Remember?
Yeah.
I'm sure Greg does.
Well,
This
certain
is just
vaccines
the
don't
fourth
scare
or
me.
fifth one.
Certain vaccines don't scare me. I get a flu shot every year. I've had a flu shot ever since I was a kid. Ask me when I had the last time I had the flu. I couldn't even tell
I
you
don't
when.
know.
I was probably a kid. I'm not afraid of flu vaccines. That stuff doesn't bother me. But anyway,
I don't trust any of them, quite frankly.
yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
I don't trust one thing that comes out of Pfizer.
Yeah, big pharma.
Right, and the answer
wait a
is,
minute.
why
Hold on.
should I?
Bernie Sanders, right? We
Yeah.
got to stop the oligarchs. We got to stop the oligarchs. Trump is creating an oligarchy. It's all the multi-billionaires that are running the country. This is an unelected billionaire. Meanwhile, he took more money. He's the number one taker of money, recipient of pharmaceutical, big pharma money in Congress.
He is
the lies
he is
and hypocrisy from these
quintessential
people.
communist.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
The
lies.
quintessential communist.
Oh.
I'm going to carp about fairness and equality, but I rise to the top and become part of the ruling class elitists. How many houses does that scumbag have?
Well,
Mr. Fairness and Equality?
Let's go there briefly because I think, and God, I can't wait to see Kash Patel. He's come out of committee. He's going to a vote on the Senate floor. He will be confirmed. Worst case scenario. Now, we know Mitch McConnell has voted against 3 of Trump's nominees. He's likely going to vote against Kash Patel as well. I know Kash Patel.
Is there no 25th Amendment for senators?
I don't know. Yeah, it's called the voting booth, but Kentuckians,
Yeah, but
I'm sure, are
come
very
on,
upset.
man.
And I'm sure they're very upset. Kentucky's a red state. Okay, I'm going to be up in Kentucky broadcasting from Bud's Gun Shop again coming up in the next few weeks. Might be at their Tennessee facility. Either way, both of them very gun-friendly states. Both went for Trump overwhelmingly. McConnell, if whatever legacy he had is now in the toilet, it's just swirling down the drain like really bad poopy. He's gone. McConnell is just gone. However, he will likely vote against Kash Patel. And Kash is the real deal. I've spoken to Kash Patel on more than one occasion. He is the real deal. When he gets his mitts on the FBI, those why do you think they're so scared? They are terrified.
They're terrified that they're losing their power base.
They're losing more than that. They are losing more than that. I'll just let me pull a Jen Psaki here, that mouthpiece, that liar. But we'll circle back to this because I firmly believe that, and I do believe this with all of my heart, I do believe that the Democrat Party, ladies and gentlemen, as you've known it, is done. Yeah, I think it's done. Now, they're not going away. They'll somehow revamp themselves, whatever. But if you look out there right now, if I ask you right now publicly, who's the Democrat National Committee chairman? Who's the leader of the Democrat Party? You used to be able to answer those questions immediately. You can't answer those questions right now. Now, we got that one
I don't think
idiot.
I ever could because, they're all scum to me. But
well, Paul, you have that one idiot from California who just mentioned this week that it was time for them to bring real weapons to the fight. And when questioned about it, he doubled down, and he was, in fact, talking about weapons, ladies and gentlemen. This is the desperation coming from the Dems. But it goes back to that question we were asking before. What is it that they're afraid? All this stuff. It's just so fun to talk about. I'll give you the final word on all that, and then let's switch to some guns here briefly because there's some interesting stories out here.
all right. And there actually was a recent article in The Hill about endorsing liberal gun ownership and how it's not just for white rednecks anymore. I said, yeah, that's cool. But owning a gun doesn't make you a patriot. And someone reminded me, and I thanked them for it. They're like, yeah, when liberals get guns, people get assassinated. It's not conservative Christian MAGA people that are climbing up on roofs to assassinate presidents. It's liberal gun owners.
This always tears me up. I know a lot of liberals that are gun owners, and I've used this as an example before. I have a neighbor who I love dearly. She's a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat, dyed-in-the-wool liberal, but she's an honest person. We can have political conversations, and when we generally do, and they're few and far between, but when we do, she's fixable. She's absolutely fixable. I have corrected her a number of times, and I didn't have to really, you don't have to bring somebody around to your thinking when you're talking about something that's truly common sense. She is a gun owner because of me. She was working as a realtor, found herself alone in some homes with some very shady people, came to me. We did had massive discussions, multiple discussions about this over time, went to the range. Her husband was working closely with her, and she's a gun owner. You know, she's not a bad person. She's one of those people that just got duped. She is not an idiot. So that's why that psychological thing, you kind of, let's pull another Jen Psaki and circle
But she's
back
still
to that.
voting for Democrats?
I haven't not talked to her politically over the last 6 months. I don't know. You know, and it's really fun for me. I have a cousin that's way far left. He's the closest thing I've got to a brother. He's got a PhD in psychology. And I mean, he and I were joined at the hip growing up. But he's so far left. He's also one of those people that we can talk about politics, and when it starts to get a little hairy, we know when to back down. We don't let it get out of hand. But what's really interesting about this is he has not spoken to me since prior to the election, and I've not heard from him. And it's likely because how do you even justify?
He hasn't figured out how to say he's sorry yet?
It hasn't yet. But I got to be honest. You got to wonder why. You know, how can somebody? I mean, you got a PhD, ladies and gentlemen. You're not stupid. Now, you know, it might be common sense stuff.
But Jimmy Carter had a high IQ, but he was a horrible, horrible president.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, he was smart. Nuclear engineering. I'm like, oh, that might be, but he was still a terrible, just a walking abortion as a president.
Well, I know my cousin is no question about it. I know how intelligent he is, and you got to wonder how how duped was he by this stuff? Is there any level of embarrassment by these people after now knowing everything? Well, we knew all along that they did not. It is quite fascinating.
Liberalism is a
mental disorder. We've said it for years. All right, so Paul and I get wrapped up talking about stuff. It's okay. It's a fun Friday. But judge signs with gun advocates and pauses Maine gun law enacted in wake of Lewiston mass shooting. We'll talk a little bit about that. We will also talk about, and it's interesting because I'm going to tie it in to a woman who used a firearm to shoot her stalker in self-defense not far from me, Pensacola, Florida. We'll be back. Mike's live. Camera's on.
This segment of Armed American Radio's Daily Defense is being brought to you by Daniel Defense. Visit DanielDefense.com. Now, back to the show.
Yeah, you're back to the show, all right. Final segment on a Friday for you. Hope you're getting ready to enjoy a great weekend. I know I am, and I know Greg is. Greg's excited about the weekend. I told him if I were him, I'd probably leave work today, go straight to the nearest Texas Roadhouse, get a big ice-cold draft beer in an icy mug, and order up a big old prime rib or whatever steak floats your boat and a big old baked potato and start my weekend. And Greg,
That'd be nice.
It would be nice, but when you referred to that as a fantasy, I knew you had other plans going on in the background. Because if a steak and a baked potato is a fantasy, that means you can't do that because you got something else going on, and you do. So,
got to coach adults jiu-jitsu tonight.
There you go. Got to keep teaching people how to defend themselves, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back.
People how to strangle.
There you go. Welcome back to the SIG Sauer Studios. Sitting in front of the Patriot Mobile mic with you. Make sure to check out all of our partners. Barrel Buddy's a great partner. BudsGunShop.com, another one. Crossbreed Holsters, Patriots Relief. Those CBD things, there's no THC in those things, guys, okay? It's just CBD, great for pain, great for sleeping, and it's just relaxing. And on top of that, the pain relief medication that you use, the emu oil, and oh, man, that stuff is amazing. It works wonders. Make sure to check it out. If you're like me, you wake up in the morning, you're a little bit sore on your elbows, you got some arthritis going on, that stuff works. It just flat out works. Paul Markle, student of the gun. Welcome back in, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you and I get to talking, and, I love shows like this because it's just like a conversation just between you and me that happens to be on microphones. So there's let me start with the woman first. I started with the main story first, but I'm going to start with the woman. The headline out of USA Carry by Luke McCoy, woman shoots stalker in self-defense while at work at Pensacola Holiday Inn. So she was working at a downtown Holiday Inn in Pensacola. She defended herself with a firearm on Monday after a man who had been stalking her attacked her in the hotel's laundry room. It occurred at 11:30 a.m., broad daylight, ladies and gentlemen. She's 35 years old. She was confronted by this loser at a location where she was working alone. Immediately began punching her. Fearing for her safety, she drew a legally owned firearm and shot him once in the leg. Now, I would have preferred that to be the chest or a clean headshot, but that's okay. It's not about the death of the perp, even though it's a happy ending story all the way around. Why is that a happy ending story? Because the victim survived. Because the victim had a firearm and exercised her right to carry and exercised her right to defend her life. Now, Paul, let's segue over to Maine. Judge sides with gun advocates and pauses Maine gun law enacted in wake of Lewiston mass shooting. What that law was a 72-hour waiting period here's Maine's new gun law. A federal judge on Thursday put a hold on a new 3-day waiting period for gun purchases in Maine after reviewing a lawsuit filed against the rule by gun rights groups. This is an AP piece. Maine's new gun law took effect in August and was one of several gun control measures the state's Democrat-controlled legislature, there's a shock, passed after an Army reservist killed 18 people in Lewiston in October of 2023. Because we all know we should all be punished because of the actions of a psychopath. Gun rights advocates challenged the waiting period.
Why were there no armed citizens to stop this guy?
Well, I don't know the answer to that. I know we talked about it. You were on the show when it happened. It seems like it was a long time ago, but it wasn't. But here's the thing. You got a stalker. The biggest victims in the world of waiting periods are stalker victims.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay? So, fortunately, this judge got a head screwed on properly and gets it. So, he's waiting for the lawsuit to go through, put a pause on it while it's going through the courts. And that's exactly what should happen. The biggest victims of these waiting periods are women, in particular, who might be stalked and can't get a gun because they've got a 3 or 4 day waiting period. We've covered multiple cases over the years of these women who have been killed because they couldn't get their firearm. Paul, it's frustrating.
Well, it's not frustrating. It's criminal. But haven't we already isn't there already enough jurisprudence and in the courts that waiting periods are unconstitutional?
One would think. Well,
I know that this is not the first time this has come up, and numerous waiting period laws have been struck down as unconstitutional. So how does this even keep popping up? Are we that slow of learners?
No, I'll tell you how it keeps popping up. No, let me answer that question. And I'm going to quote again from AP. Maine's new gun rule took effect in August and was one of several gun control measures the state's Democratic-controlled legislature passed. That's why this keeps popping up.
But Democrats aren't allowed to violate the law just because they're Democrats.
They think they're
not allowed to ignore the Constitution just because they feel good about it.
They've been getting away with it for years.
Come on, people.
They've been getting away with it for years. Now,
and I blame the people in Maine for allowing there to be a Democrat-controlled House. What's up, Maine? What's wrong with you people?
You have to. It's up to the voters. Now, let me again move over to a Breitbart news piece from our good friend AWR. We'll talk about this with AWR on the Monster Cast coming up on Sunday, I'm sure. Restrictions. Virginia Democrats send numerous gun controls to Governor Youngkin's desk. So let's take a look at some of this. I just pulled this up. I have not read this. Let's just do it together. WRIC reported that one of the Democrat bills, you see the common theme here, the common denominator, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, you do. Would require anyone with children at home to store their guns in locked boxes or containers. Another piece of Democrat legislation would institute a 5-day waiting period before someone can purchase a gun. The waiting period is contained in SB 891, which also adds fees to price of buying guns in order to help the state defray the costs of criminal background checks. Virginia House Democrats have passed an assault weapons ban as well, but it has to return to the Senate before going to Youngkin. Now, State Senator Jennifer Boysko, a Democrat, commented on the assault weapons ban saying, nobody needs to go hunting with an AK-47. Paul, take it away. You've got 1 minute. Just unload, but be FCC friendly.
Right. Yes, indeed. So going back to the liberal gun owner thing, we keep we as our side are like, the more people that own guns, that's better because, they'll be on our side. They're not on our side.
No.
They keep voting for Democrats. They literally vote for the people that want to disarm them. It is a mental disorder. And all of you people out there in the States, do not comply. Do not comply. And I'm telling you, people are like, well, what are we supposed to do? I don't know. Stand up and act like an American. Remember what it means to be an American. Are you a slave? Are these people in the Senate and the Congress, they're your masters? They're allowed to flush the Constitution because of their emotions? Stand up and act like a winner. We won in 2024. Act like a winner. Act like an American. Stop acting like a coward. End of story.
Well said, and perfect timing because we're getting ready to close out. Ladies and gentlemen, I've said this many times over the years. If you're a liberal gun owner, good for you. You have a right to own a gun. Exercise that right. I have no problem with that. But never try to call yourself a gun rights activist as a liberal as long as you're voting for the very people, as Paul just mentioned, that are coming after your guns. That doesn't make you a gun rights activist. All you are is a liberal who owns guns, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just own it.
Yes,
you're not a gun rights activist. Paul, tell people real quick where they can find you, brother. We're going to have to cut it.
SOTGU.com, Student of the Gun University. We got a class in Texas, class in Tennessee coming up in March.
And you can find all that information on the website at SOTGU.com. Paul Markle, Student of the Gun, the Professor. Thank you, brother, for being here. Appreciate it very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in today. Thanks for watching on all the platforms. We appreciate it very much. Please support the show by supporting our partners. You can find them all at armedamericanradio.com. And until we meet on the radio on Sunday, carry on, carry often, carry absolutely everywhere. Never, ever, ever leave your cave without your club. No self-respecting caveman would have ever been caught outside his cave without his club. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. Have a great weekend.
You've just filled your prescription for freedom with Mark Walters, presented by X Insurance. X Insurance on the Armed American Radio Network.
Okay, guys, thanks for tuning in today. Appreciate it very much. It's a Friday. Start your weekend. Stay safe. Have a good one. I'll see you on the Sunday Monster Cast on hundreds of radio stations around the nation, 8 to 11 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 to 8 p.m. Pacific. You can do the math in between. You know where you're at in the time zones. Add an hour or subtract an hour as you go east or west. You know that. It's pretty simple. That's really for most of you liberals out there. Guys, enjoy your day. Enjoy your weekend. Have a great one. Stay safe. I'll see each and every one of you on the radio.